What is up, everybody? It is Alex from Heavy New York calling from Zoom again, and this time we are here with Joel of Aviana. Thank you so much for being here. It's great to have you here, man.
Thank you so much for having me.
Anytime, man. Anytime. We got the new album Corporation coming out. For people who haven't heard the album yet, could the first two singles that you released, Obsession and Paradox, maybe serve as a good representation of the entirety of this album, or is that just scratching the surface?
I think Obsession is a very good blueprint of what the whole album is. Um, and Paradox is on the absolute heavier side, but yeah, I think both of them are. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
Mhm. Do you start off the songwriting process with kind of like a preconceived vision of what you want it to be like, or is the songwriting process very experimental for you?
Experimental. I just spend like a whole day in the studio for a song and just try out whatever comes to mind pretty much. Like the lyrics are usually already written, but like the patterns of the screams, the melodies of like the choruses and all that, it's just like what kind of fits the vibe of the whole song.
hmm And you mentioned that you have like lyrics already written before that. Does that help dictate the direction of the sound too? Do lyrics usually like help guide your hand with regards to the songwriting?
Yeah. It sets the mood, of course, because like the whole album is very dark when you look at lyrics, and it's about depression, anxiety. A lot of anger is put into lyrics, so like that kind of mirrors very perfectly with the songs as well, because it's a angry fucking album.
When it comes to confronting the demons and dealing with anxiety and depression, obviously it's very cathartic for the songwriting process. But does that also make it relatively deteriorating as well?
Yeah, 100%. It's fuck like it's like I'm seeing a psych. What do you call it? Fucking a damn. I completely forgot the word for it. Psychiatrist. What the fuck? The dude that writes notes when you're laying on the sofa and
Psych.
you're talking about your life.
Oh, psychiatry.
Yeah, thank you.
Mhm.
Like that. It's so like it's a good thing for me to like kind of deep dive into my own mind and like actually dig up those demons and write about them and I guess face them in a sense when it comes to the songwriting for sure.
Do you want the album to be open to interpretation, or do you want the listener to sort of like maybe understand things from your point of view, and that can maybe help enlighten or inform them on these specific topics?
50-50. I've had so many people tell me that the songs helped them, and I don't really want to know what part of any song or what song in that sense. Like, if they felt that a song meant something to them, that it's completely different from me, then fuck yeah, if it can help you out, then I'm super happy that I could contribute to that.
But with the album title, like corporation as well, like I am curious to what that. I know it's kind of like a cliche, and I know some artists hate this question. What does the record name mean, kind of thing. But
Yeah.
but if that is a subject, if the topics of anxiety and depression and your personal trials and tribulations are a theme addressed on this album, what does the title sort of corporation like coincide with that? Is that a specific like is a corporation a specific metaphor for something, or like or what is how does that title sort of play into the significance of your meaning?
So the name for this album is a part of a three album idea. We're creating this kind of world where we create, because like the band has this kind of persona now. We have the masks, we have the clothes, we have like everything surrounding it, and corporation is a part of that storyline. So like the we're not writing like concept albums, but the band is a concept band now. Like we try to do something else that we've never done before. So the name corporation doesn't really have anything to do with these songs in particular, because it's a part of a bigger story that we're working on that is going to be revealed slowly but surely during the upcoming two albums that we're just started working on now. So I guess it's kind of confusing too, because I know that a lot of people actually want to know, like, what does the corporation mean? But that is something that I can't really say. I don't think without like actually spilling the beans about like the whole story thing we're building right now. But I think people will realize what it means in a year, hopefully.
Mm. Well, you have this three concept album series, and as a big fan of the band Obscura, who actually has like a four album series and are working on a trilogy now, I'm always intrigued by this. Is this meant to? Would you say that this maybe is supposed to be a cinematic aspect of Aviana, where like or if like let's say somebody discovers you guys on the second or third album, do you recommend that they start with the first in order to get it? Is it meant to be
Yes,
listened to chronologically?
yeah, because it's gonna be revealing in a sense where we the second album is gonna be just a tiny bit more of the information, and the third one is gonna be, of course, the last piece. But you need to know the first two to actually realize like the whole story behind it. Um, so, and of course, like we have music videos for all of our songs. Like we have small details in them that like kind of tell you what's up, like what is going to come during the next albums as well. But so far, I think it's only been like a handful of people who like started to noticing like these things now. So we really hope that we can keep like this kind of mystic feeling about like what corporation is right now, which is, I don't know, I'm excited to just have like those super hardcore fans actually digging super deep to find out shit that you didn't think people were gonna find out.
Yeah, and when I interview you for the second and third album again, I'm probably gonna have a better idea and may have a better discussion on the title in a way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
All,
gonna be super like this. The second one for sure, because that's gonna be, it's gonna be, I guess, unfolding a lot more what corporation is when the second one is released, and like all the cinematics for that, all of the story parts we build around the second one as well.
mhm. Well, I'm gonna hold you to that now. I'm gonna. The first question I'm gonna ask is: we got part two with Aviana. So, question number one: what the hell now does corporation mean? And you
Yeah.
could you can, um, but when eventually you're gonna when you play all material from all three of these albums live, sometimes you're not gonna unless I mean that would be really cool if you play every album in full. But if you were like doing like an opening slide, you kind of have to like consolidate the set list a little bit. Would you say if you're playing like a part two song over a part one song and then doing part three and going all over the place, that maybe brings a new layer of meaning or adds to the context of the album?
Yeah, we already have a second version of one of the songs. I'm not going to tell you which one because it's kind of like, it's so fun. We have like bits and pieces that you can recognize from the original song that we just like started building up a new version of. So definitely there's going to be so much, I guess, clues surrounding like the second album to what the first album was.
Mhm. And you mentioned also like the masks that are incorporated in here, and I'm very intrigued by that. Did this image, was this always an image that you had in mind for Aviana, or was this sort of like something that you thought of in the spur of a moment after completing the music?
The both yes and no. Like the clothing and like the kind of starting something new. Just not being a normal metal band that has black t-shirt and tight pants and just go up on a stage and just play heavy music. Like I wanted to go away from that. I wanted the live shows to be an experience and like people to leave a show and be like, holy shit, what the fuck did I just watch? And like they want to know more about the members that are secret right now, because like it becomes a whole another thing than rather just playing a show. Somebody like that show and then they're off to the next one. Like this one actually can become something more than that.
Hmm.
So I wanted to, when the old members still was in the band, I came up with this idea with the clothes, with the storylines regarding the albums, and we started talking about that, and then I think it was like 3 or 4 months later, they all decided to leave. So like that original idea is what we're going on. It was just that fuck, let's add masks now because we have like new members where it's a pandemic. So like releasing a new member or like a full own band is not going to make an impact because we can't do anything with it. We can't tour with the new members. We can't show off the new members in good sense without just like posting a picture on them on Instagram. So making something a bit more interesting. And like I said, people really want to know who they are now, which is so much more fun to us because we can start playing with that.
Do you feel that almost that this is an identity or an external metaphor outside of who you personally are in a way? Do you almost feel like maybe the members are like portraying, for lack of better words, characters in a way? Or is this really also just an extension of your personal vision and your personal experiences?
No, we definitely have roles. Like we, and especially the other guys, you know, putting on masks, like they feel like they can become someone else on stage or in a music video. And I just started, I guess, adapting to that as well because I feel like I wanted a mask too. Like it's so much easier to act in a certain way or use you know another body language just because you're covering your face. No one can really see your expressions. No one can see if you're awkward or if you're excited, if you're happy. Like you can be so mysterious. So they had an easier time adapting to that and actually, you know, creating characters rather than being themselves. And I'm slowly but surely going into that as well. And it's a lot more fun, you know, especially like being on stage, not being yourself 100%, actually being a role that you know is going to work out and that people are going to react to. Because, like I said, we're not just normal dudes with t-shirts and tight pants on stage being like, get the fuck up. We're actually doing like our own thing. And it's exciting. It's super fun.
Definitely. And I think that needs to start being your slogan. Like, I think you need to write that on a t shirt. We don't have t shirts and tight pants.
Yeah.
Um, but and being that art always does come out of art in a way. One of my favorite quotes. Did once you saw those masks and you saw this stage persona, did this also maybe create a new vision of what you want to incorporate in Aviana in the future in terms of sound?
Yes, 100%. As soon as we got the masks, because we designed them in Ukraine, and they shipped it to us. So like we didn't see it for half a year, I think, after like we actually finished the design and sent it away. So when we got the masks, we all started talking about how to make this grow, how to make it better, and of course like at some point like we have to show the members' face, like because for one, fuck, it sucks for them being secret all the time. Like I wouldn't enjoy that a bit. They've been around for almost a year now, a bit over a year actually. So like working on the masks being like a revealing part of that, so they can become their own characters without masks as well. And just the storylines, because that I can actually tell you, like the next album is going to be more focused on these three characters that are behind the masks. So like we started building on that story kind of straight away.
I might be asking this a little bit prematurely, but can you see your concept and your idea also being explored in other mediums too, whether it would be film or visual art or in any other aspect as well?
We had a dude contact us about actually doing a comic, like just a simple, he's not a big dude in the comic world, but he's really good at drawing and like coming up stories in that sense. So he first started working with us and wanted to write the scripts, and then we were like, "Hey, why not actually try out actually make an actual comic?" Which would be super cool. Oh yeah, we're gonna drive here in a bit, so it might be a bit of noises here, by the way.
All good, all good. Um, but when it comes to a concept that you explore in your music, do you feel like the concept or the idea could evolve over time as you evolve as an artist, or do you prefer if every album or every song you write is more or less a snapshot of who you are at that particular moment?
No, I would like to evolve in that sense. just like when we're performing the songs live, like we don't want to, do it the exact same version as, it is on Spotify, for example. Like we want people to have, a show in front of them that they're not going to forget, that they can't really repeat just by sitting at home by the computer. So that goes, it's the same for me. Like I want that to be like something that is evolving through time.
Hmm. And I have two more questions with regarding to the emotions that you channel into Aviana, because sometimes you are working on a song for hours or days or weeks, but if a certain emotion leads to the creation of a certain song and you work on it for a long time, does that make it a little bit more difficult to hold on to that emotion that initially sparked the idea? Do you prefer to feel the same way when you finish a song as you do when you start it?
100%. I hate re-recording demos, for example. Like if I finish a song and that's pretty much the finished product, but I had to like redo takes, it never feels the same because like you made it so good and so impactful like the first time. So like I think some of the songs actually have the takes from like the original demos, just because the new takes didn't, have as much impact as like the first takes had.
Yeah, definitely. And that led me perfectly into the final question of the interview. How do you know when you are finished with a song?
Fucking never.
Mm,
I'm my worst enemy when it comes to that. Like I don't want to stop writing because like you can always hear, like even now when the album is released, like I have small bits and pieces I want to change or tweak or just like finalize just tiny bit. But I guess like you need people around you that are like telling you this is enough, it's fine, this is gonna be well, like it's gonna go good for you. Which is like we have so many people that are supporting us in that sense. So it's easy to actually stop when they tell you that it's good now.
yeah. It's always good for an artist to believe in oneself, but guidance and criticism and just any help from others is always a great blessing in itself as well.
Always, yes.
So before we go, I want to thank you so much for your time today and for such a great conversation. Is there just anything else with Aviana that you would like to promote for the release of Corporation? When we can we be expecting part two and part three of this trilogy? Any tours coming up that you like to plug, or anything else? Go for it.
I don't think I have anything I can talk about, honestly, because like nothing. There's a lot of talk about tours during next year, but nothing is confirmed yet, so I can't really say that. But just check out the album and send us a message and tell us what you think about it. We
Well,
like both negative and positive critics, so
hell yeah. Well, and you know what? When there's stuff you can't talk about, that means great stuff is going to be coming soon. We all know that.
I think so. Yeah, this time around, yeah,
Yeah, de-
really.
definitely. Well, thank you so much, everybody. We are here with Aviana. Be sure to check out Corporation, my bad. And we will see you next time on Heavy New York.